morning, everyone. Welcome to another week. It's April the 20th, and God has indeed been good to us. It's been an interesting journey. I think we are now in week 5, if I'm not mistaken, of being home. And we, in the course of this period, I'm sure we have all learned a few things. Last week, we looked at priorities, and we tried. I think we dealt with it extensively. I think we dealt with it enough. We couldn't finish dealing with it, but of course, all the sessions are online. You can go back to your Facebook, or you can go to YouTube. They're all there. On Saturday, we had a little fun. It was a little chaotic in my kitchen, but I think we finally got to do a little obiata didin, which is an African emergency sauce that you can use as a base for anything. This morning we want to move on. We want to do something a little more in line with where we are today. I want us to look at the issue of crisis. When we talk about crisis, we are looking at something that we did not plan for, or something that comes upon us unexpectedly, maybe suddenly. However, we want to be able to deal with it. When events come to us in life, whether we are prepared for them or not, they have to be dealt with. It's similar to what we have today. We are suddenly out of the blues. All of us have been hit one by one, nation by nation, family by family, by the COVID-19 issue. And every day passing, we are beginning to see more and more what the effects can be. Everyone at one time or the other, every family, every community, every church, believe me, churches also have crises. Every nation will have a crisis at one time or the other. A generation, the whole world, from time to time, will experience a crisis together. We've never seen a crisis the extent of what we are seeing right now, in terms of the whole world going through something at the same time. This is totally different. We've had world wars, we've had terrorism, we've had all kinds of things as a world, but we've never had anything quite like this. And it has been, it truly has been very, very, it has been intimidating. It has made us all very, very vulnerable. It has brought us face to face with our own mortality, our own helplessness. It has showed us that really, when push comes to shove, we really don't have that amount of strength or intelligence or provision that we think we had. We are not all that. It has made many of us re-examine who we truly are, and and what we really don't have. It's made many of us begin to think about the fact that maybe after all there is a God who is bigger than us all, who has more power than us all, and who can help us out of this situation, because this is a God problem now. It is a God problem, it is a God crisis. And when I say God problem, God crisis, I'm not saying that God created the problem or God initiated the crisis. I'm saying that the solution to this crisis is of God proportions. Only God can take us out of where we are right now. Now, So in essence, it means that we have to get on the right side of God. We have to get on the right, if we need the help of God now, then we have to get on the right side of God. But coming back to the word crisis, the word crisis. When there is a crisis, the first thing that happens is it tests the strength of the person against whom that crisis is coming. It tests the strength of the person against whom that crisis is coming. When a crisis hits, and crisis can be of different dimensions, I want to talk about personal crisis right now. You may have when somebody suddenly loses a loved one. That is a crisis for that person. A family loses the breadwinner, or the person on whom the entire family leans, or a loved person in the family. That is a crisis for that family. Somebody suddenly loses their job. That's a crisis. It may be for that person if they only take care of themselves, but if that person has some position in a family, it becomes a family crisis. For a community, where somebody suddenly, a leader in the community suddenly dies. We saw in the UK when the Prime Minister was hit by the virus and had to be hospitalized. We saw the UK slide towards a crisis in leadership in terms of if anything happens, who takes control? And they had to put in someone right there for a few days to be in charge of government, because of course a nation cannot be void of leadership. When a crisis hits, what it does is it tests the foundation, the strength of the person, of the institution, of the nation, of the family. I remember many years ago, and like I said, when you have a crisis, it usually comes unannounced. I had traveled. I was fine. I was going about my normal business, hale and hearty. And then I traveled, and one morning my host was going to the clinic, and I said, you know what, let me just come along with you. And when we got there, I said, you know what, let me just can I see a doctor? There was nothing wrong with me. And so then, we registered, and in those days it wasn't that difficult to get a doctor's appointment. So we saw the doctor. I was pregnant. I was 5 months pregnant. Nothing wrong with me. The doctor began to examine me. I suddenly saw her countenance change. I saw them suddenly begin to run all over the place. I'm like, what's going on here? Before you knew it, I was put in an ambulance on my way to a big hospital from the clinic. I get to the hospital, specialists are running around. Everybody is running around. I'm talking about an incident of about 35 years ago. What is the matter? I was in the process of miscarrying. I had a pregnancy. I was expecting twins. I went into that hospital in the morning. To the clinic, nothing was wrong with me. No symptoms, nothing. By the end of that day, I had become a specialist case in the hospital. I was there for a couple of days. They did everything they could. That was crisis for me. In the process of it, I lost so much. They said they were going to give me a blood transfusion because I eventually lost that pregnancy. I refused because it was in the days when the noise about AIDS was beginning to go the rounds. They came, one specialist after the other, trying to convince me. I said no. That was a crisis for my family. A crisis crisis for me. For my poor host, it was a crisis. The poor woman was in tears. She was saying to herself, how will this happen in my house? But it wasn't her fault. It was nobody's fault. A crisis hit me from nowhere. The same way this crisis has hit us from nowhere. Or well, from somewhere, because if we had a good foundation, we would have been prepared for it. Somewhat. But the crisis has tested our very foundation, tested the foundation of our healthcare all over the world, the healthcare of nations. The foundation of governance. What kind of government, what kind of leaders, what kind of healthcare systems do we have? This crisis has hit. And suddenly, technology, power, economy, a vibrant economy is not able to save us. What is the essence of a thriving stock market, a buoyant stock market, when your healthcare system is not in place? Thousands dying. We are talking about crisis. Psalm 11:3 says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? When a foundation is destroyed, the very basics, there's very little that the righteous can do. And today, as we look at the issue of crisis, I want to ask you, what kind of foundation do you have for your life? Because believe me, crisis will come from time to time. There is nobody that is exempt from a crisis. There is no family that is exempt from a crisis. There is no community that is exempt from a crisis. There is no church that is exempt from a crisis. There is no nation that is exempt from a crisis. There is no generation that is exempt from a crisis. If the foundation be destroyed, what will the righteous do? We have money. America is supposed to be the superpower of the world. We hope. What about our foundation? A nation like Nigeria is supposed to be the giant of Africa. What about its foundation? China is straddling the whole world right now. Things are looking good for China. What is her foundation? The foundation of God stands sure. The Lord knows those who are His. And everyone, every nation, every family, at one time or the other is going to be hit by a God-sized problem, a God-sized crisis that only God can solve. Crisis. What foundation do you have? Suddenly we find that our primary healthcare system in America is not working. Our foundation. Suddenly we find out in America that maybe our leaders don't know what they are doing. Our foundation. In other nations, suddenly they are finding that the leaders they have might not be the kind of leaders that they need in the crisis situation. Everybody must get ready for a crisis, because crisis will come. Crisis will come. You cannot avoid a crisis. They will come at one time or the other. When the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Here we are in America. scrambling, patching things up, running helter-skelter, appealing to nations that we should be dictating to when the foundations are destroyed. Hospitals without PPEs, without ventilators. A nation in the middle of a storm without direction. Foundations. Crisis shows the stuff we are made of. When you are hit by a personal crisis, what happens? Do you totally disintegrate? Foundations. Crisis. Crises are a test of our foundation. So this week we'll be looking at crisis. And because we'll be looking at crisis, it means that we'll be looking at foundations. I want to give you an assignment today. Check your life. Check your community. Check your church. Check your nation. What are the foundations laid that will take care of a crisis when the crisis comes? Because it's not if, it's when. It's when. When I had that personal crisis in my life, I was young, I was strong. Something that might have taken my life, by the grace of God, I survived. I had a foundation, a loving husband, caring people around me, family, friends who supported me. I had a foundation of love. Crisis will come. This is the time for us to begin to ask in our various nations, what foundation do we want to lay for the next crisis that is coming? And as you answer that question, you must answer the question of who your leaders are going to be. The leadership question must be answered if we are going to lay the proper foundation for crisis. Because if the foundations are destroyed, there's nothing that technology will do, nothing that wealth will do, nothing that power will do. If the foundation be destroyed, all the other things will avail us nothing. I'll just quickly see, I see that some of you are making comments. Someone is saying, Lord, please help the nations of the world to come out of this crisis. God will have mercy. The nations of the world will come out of this crisis. But God is saying to us, lay the foundation. Because the next crisis is coming. If we lay the foundation, and our foundation is laid in God, then when the God kind of crisis hits us, the God of crisis will take over and solve those crises for us. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me in your various homes this morning. I see all of you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Lay the right foundation so that when crisis comes, you will be able to deal with that crisis. Have a blessed week, everyone, as we have a word of prayer. Father, we are thankful. I ask for everyone today, Lord, that we will build foundations in righteousness, Foundations, Lord God, in you. A foundation strong in God. So that when the crisis comes, we will be able to stand and we will be able to overcome. We pray for our various nations. We pray for our various families. We pray for our various churches. We pray for our various communities. We ask, Lord, for mercy at this time. Lord, please have mercy. We have not made you our foundation. And now that we are in crisis, our foundation is beginning to shake and to break down. Lord, we invite you into our boat. Have mercy, O God. We pray, Father, Lord God, for life. We ask for all the sick people, all those compromised by this COVID-19. Father, please, we ask for healing. We ask for healing, oh God. Let your power begin to walk through our streets, walk through our hospitals, walk through our homes, walk through our communities. Your healing power, Father, have mercy on us. We have compromised our foundation. But Lord, we ask that the God who is able to handle this worldwide problem will intervene. Lord, you say if we ask, and we are asking, in Jesus' name. Amen. And I pray for anyone who is really troubled, afraid in their hearts. I pray for that sick person out there. Lord, I ask that your healing hand will touch them right now. That person who is scared, who is frightened out of their wits. I pray, Lord, that your healing power will begin to flow through them. Lord, we thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Good morning, everyone. See you in the morning tomorrow if Jesus tarries. And again, it's Funmi Obilana on Reflections. Have a wonderful day.